Chapter 7 is called A Safe Place. Jack! Jack, are you awake? Said Annie. Jack blinked a few times. What? He asked groggily. It was dark and the night was still. The rain had stopped and the water was calm. Branches and boards gently bumped against the roof raft. Look at that castle, said Annie. What castle? Echoed Jack. In a daze, he looked around in the darkness. Over there, she said. That's quite a sight to see, isn't it? A full moon peeked out from the clouds. Moonlight shone on castle towers rising above the water. Oh, man, said Jack. Is that a real castle? No, I'm afraid not, said Rose. It's a school run by the Catholic nuns. It's called the Ursuline Academy. Ursuline Academy, said Jack. He sat straight up, fully awake. Ursuline Academy? Exclaimed Annie. I don't believe it. What? Why? Asked Rose. That's a safe place, said Annie. We read about it in our Texas book. People survived the hurricane there. What are you talking about? Said Rose. Annie, you're remembering the description in our guidebook, Jack said quickly. You know, the book said that it was a tall, sturdy building. You must have dreamed the rest. Oh, right, Annie said. I dreamed it. But it definitely looks like a tall, sturdy place, doesn't it? It looks dark, said Rose. I know, said Annie, but I'll bet lots of people are inside the Ursuline Academy, and I feel like they're probably safe. I'm feeling that too, said Jack. I think we should go there. But how do we get there? Said Rose. Jack and I can get in the water and push the roof, said Annie. We're good swimmers. Oh, no. That's too dangerous, said Rose. There's wreckage everywhere. Well, maybe we can use some of it, said Annie. What do you mean? Said Rose. Well, we could try to find something to use as paddles, said Annie. Good idea, said Jack. He and Annie leaned over the edge of the raft, searching the water. Jack lifted up part of a chair. Annie retrieved a torn basket. These won't work, said Jack. They put them back into the water. Hey, this might, said Annie. She hauled a flat wooden fence picket onto the raft. Try it, said Jack. Annie knelt on the roof and she pushed the narrow slat through the water. The raft moved, but only a little. We need a second paddle, said Annie, for the other side. Look, a broom, said Jack. He lifted a broomstick out of the water. A flat bundle of wet straw was tied tightly at the end. Jack pushed the straw end of the broom through the water. At the same time, Annie pushed with her fence paddle. We're moving, said Rose. Jack and Annie kept paddling the raft toward the moonlit towers of the Ursuline Academy. As they drew closer, they saw that the massive building was partly damaged. Its tall, arched windows were smashed. But suddenly a light appeared. Hello, Rose shouted. Hello? A woman called back. Is it safe inside? Rose called. I have 3 children with me. Yes, we can help, the woman called. Jack and Annie kept paddling their roof craft through the water. When they got nearer to the academy, Jack could see 2 women in the window. Both were dressed in black robes with large white collars. Their heads were covered. Jack realized that they must be the Catholic nuns. The younger woman held a lantern. The older one was leaning out the window. Keep paddling, you're going to make it, she called to them. Oh, that's Mother Mary Joseph, said Rose. Who's she? Asked Annie. Mother Mary Joseph is in charge of the school and all the nuns. She is much loved in Galveston, said Rose. The raft finally reached the window. Jack grabbed the windowsill to hold the floating roof steady. The younger nun held the lantern. Mother Mary Joseph helped Rose and Lily climb through the window. You go next, Jack said to Annie. Annie crawled through the window and then she grabbed the edge of the roof raft. She held it steady while Jack climbed into the building. We're safe, said Annie. Oh, Jack took a deep breath. They were in a long hallway with dark wooden walls. Welcome, all of you, said Mother Mary Joseph. Sister Agnes will stay here with the lantern while I take you to the auditorium. But first, you children must put shoes on your feet. Our hallway is littered with broken glass. The The nun reached into a bag and pulled out 2 pairs of shoes. They were both black lace-ups. Jack and Annie each took a pair and put them on. Jack's shoes were too long and too narrow. They looked silly on him. Rose laughed. It was good to hear her laugh, Jack thought. He laughed with her. At least they'll protect your feet, Rose said. Come, said Mary Mother Joseph as she walked down the hallway. Every step was painful for Jack because of his shoes. Mother Mary Joseph led them into an auditorium. The huge room was filled with hundreds of people. Oil lamps cast shadows on men, women, and children. Everyone looked tired and weary. Their clothes were torn and wet. Oh, so many people, said Rose. Yes, said Sister Mary Joseph. They're from every walk of life, rich, poor, black, white, young, and old. Some have lost members of their families. Many have wounds or broken bones. All of them are refugees from the storm. Chapter 8, Lighting the Way. Oh my, you've saved them all, said Rose. Well, they saved themselves, said Mother Mary Joseph. They all worked hard to make their way here, and they're still being brave and strong. Even some with injuries are trying to help others. Of course, said Rose, smiling. Texans are at their best when things look the worst. That's true. Come with me, said Mother Mary Joseph. I'll take you to the supplies in the front. We can try to find dry clothes for the baby there. Oh, thank you, Rose said, and dry clothes for Jack and Annie too, please. Oh, no, we're fine, said Jack. We want to help too, Annie said to Mother Mary Joseph. What can we do? The nun smiled. Perhaps you could try cheering up some of the smaller children, she said. They are all very frightened by the storm. Okay, we're pretty good at cheering people up, said Annie. Wonderful, said Mother Mary Joseph. Then she turned to Rose. Come, dear, let's find something dry for your beautiful child. Thank you, said Rose. Carrying Lily, she followed Mother Mary Joseph to the front of the auditorium. Where to? Jack said to Annie. I guess we should just wander around and see who needs us, said Annie. She led the way down a crowded aisle to a far corner of the auditorium. There, some nuns were taking care of the injured. A woman with her arm in a sling was trying to calm her fussy baby. Annie knelt beside her. Can I sing to your baby? She asked. The injured mother. Well, maybe that might calm him down. Oh, yes, please, the woman said. Annie picked up the baby and rocked him, and she sang. Hush, little baby, don't say a word. Papa's gonna buy you a mockingbird. The baby smiled at her, so Annie kept singing. If that mockingbird don't sing, Papa's gonna buy you a diamond ring. Jack heard a faint cry from nearby. Rose! As Annie kept singing, Jack looked around at all the injured people. Who said Rose? He wondered. The cry came again, louder than the first one. Rose! Jack saw a young man lying on a blanket. His arms were bandaged and his leg was in a splint. Jack's heart pounded. He hurried over to the man and knelt down. You guys think you know who it is? Are you looking for Rose? He asked. Rose, she's singing. Lily, the man said. Are you Lucas? Said Jack. Yes, the man said weakly. Oh, wow. Hold on, said Jack. I'll be right back. Jack hurried to Annie. She had rocked the baby to sleep, but was still singing softly. I found Rose's husband, Jack said. See the man over there with the hurt leg? He heard you singing that song, and I heard him call Rose. Said Annie. Go get Rose. Bring her here. Jack hurried to the front of the auditorium. He found Rose with Lily and Mary Mother Joseph. Rose, we found Lucas, Jack said. Rose cried out. She and Mother Mary Joseph followed Jack through the auditorium to the corner with all the wounded people. Annie was sitting beside Lucas now. His eyes were closed. Lucas! Clutching Lily, Rose fell to her knees. She touched the man's bruised face. Lily started to cry. Lucas opened his eyes. He smiled, and in a whispery voice he sang, "Hush, little baby, don't say a word. Papa's gonna buy you a mockingbird." Lily stopped crying. She reached out to Lucas. He took her tiny hand and kissed it. "Papa," the baby said, and she laughed. "Oh, Lucas," said Rose. She was laughing and crying at the same time. Lucas reached out to her. Rose took his hand and pressed it against her wet cheek. "I was so worried about you," she said. "I'll be fine," said Lucas. "Darling, our house is gone. We've lost everything," said Rose. "No, we haven't," said Lucas. "We still have each other. How did you get here?" As Rose began telling Lucas about their journey, Mother Mary Joseph turned to Jack and Annie. "Rose spoke of your great courage and kind hearts," she said. "I'm glad you found the way here. I fear few others will be able to find us in the dark." "Why?" said Jack. "They will have no light to lead them. We have very little oil left for our lamps," said the nun. "We must use what we have to light the auditorium." Annie gasped, and softly she recited, "For those in the dark, adrift and astray, a single bright star can show them the way." "Oh," said Jack, "he'd forgotten all about their star necklace." He turned to Mother Mary Joseph. "Can you take us back to Sister Agnes?" "If you like," she said, looking puzzled. She led Jack and Annie out of the auditorium and down the hall. Sister Agnes was still holding her lantern at the window. The flame was just about to go out. "We have something that might help," Annie said. Annie took off the star necklace. She reached up and hooked the chain over the window frame. The star dangled in the breeze coming from outside. Its tiny light was no more than the flame of a birthday candle. "What a lovely thought," Mother Mary Joseph said to Annie. "A lone star, just like our Texas star. Shall we go back to the others now?" Sister Agnes gasped. The light of the tiny lone star was glowing brighter and brighter and brighter until the hallway was filled with golden light. The light from the star shone through all the broken windows and out over the storm waters as far as the eye could see.